Okay, I want to do one other quick little test. Wait for the chat to show up. Make sure it's showing up on YouTube. See how it's looking. Is it live? Ah, live. Okay, good. And that's good. Studio showing good. Great. Then I'll just check on my mobile. Oh, there I am. Okay. Make sure everything looks good. Yep. Okay, perfect. So that's good. Then I just want to do other tests. This time, sorry once again for my throat and a little unwell. I want to try the LinkedIn this time, like multi-streaming. So let's see if this goes. It looks like it's working here. Okay. Let me go over to LinkedIn page. Give this a refresh. Streaming health poor. Interesting enough, they don't have all the locations. They're mostly Europe and US when you're looking at LinkedIn. I don't know what I can do about that. I'm gonna let it run for a little bit. I'll watch it, see if it pops up. Other things I don't have, I haven't like centralized the chat or anything crazy like that. But right now, it looks like the LinkedIn's working, and that's pretty cool. It wasn't that hard to set up. Um, maybe it says tap to join on my mobile. Ah, there it goes. Okay, awesome. So, thanks for anybody who does want to tune in live. But as I said a while ago, this is more or less just to cut down on all the editing. It takes so long. I'm going to do my best to monitor the chats and things like that. This is the first time trying LinkedIn. So, hello, LinkedIn. Last time I was doing YouTube, and I just like to take it piece by piece when I do this. I don't have crazy overlays and animations and all that other stuff because it's kind of learning as you go, and you practice makes perfect, and eventually I'll get better at this. With that, I want to go right into it. My first little topic was, and let's switch scenes here. We're going to go right into Edge. Edge browser. Let me bring it back up. With that, I want to go right into it. Funny. My first little topic. I closed my Edge browser. I had the window open. That's so funny. Like if I was trying to prep a little bit, and that way it makes it faster, but hey, you learn as you go. So my first article that I wanted to talk about, I can just find it in my history real fast. Bring this back over here, fix the stream, and we're good. Um, I closed my Edge browser. I had the window open. That's so funny. Like if I was trying to prep a little bit, this one, and that way it makes it faster, but nope. Hey, you learn as you go. And so my first nope, article not that one. Talk about, got too many windows open now. Real fast. Bring this back over here. Take it off till I figure out why it's not showing me the one I want. As I said, I have to do this a little different. I don't want to share my entire desktop unless I get frustrated with this window not showing Edge. Why is it not showing the one I want? It's not. Okay, I'm going to try one more time here because I got the link right here. But I really want to avoid showing my full desktop. I think that's an important thing to do here. So I really have to fiddle with only sharing specific windows, and I need to kind of get that better. Oh, I'm going to close this browser out too. Okay. It's not showing me the window. Oh, you suck so awful. It's something with OBS. I'm just gonna have to share my full desktop. It will not find Edge for some reason in the windows here. Very, very annoying. I had it working 5 minutes ago. We'll just go straight to the full desktop, and I will fight with this another time. I don't know why it's not working. Okay, cool. Desktop it is. And let me unhide it. Okay, cool. So, always in cybersecurity, we have bad days. It's just not fun. But this is actually a good article, I think, and that's worth talking about, that some cybersecurity gangs are in themselves having issues, which is good because we want them to struggle. And it is causing a bit of rift in their part of the world when we talk about cybersecurity. What a lot of people forget is cybersecurity, them hacking groups are organizations. They're not legitimate ones, right? You can't like, it's not like you buy stock in them. But the point is, they have their structures, they have their organization, they have managers and all types of roles like a real company, except their goal is to steal. And obviously, they have their own challenges. They're up against other criminals, right? And so this article is actually a really good one in how the Black Cat and the Lockbit groups have, they actually run a ransomware as a service, very popular model. You just buy some time and it does the ransomware and you don't actually have to own the infrastructure or anything. But they've been kind of taken down, and recent years, some of their websites arrested some of the members, and it's kind of at the point where their disruption has went down a lot because of their own discourse between each other. Unit 42, really good, popular threat intelligence groups from Palo Alto. It's really good to see that they also have to shift the way they're doing their cybersecurity. Now, I think the quote here is the best from CrowdStrike is it's not going away, right? And it's kind of like that Hydra phrase, cut off the head of one and two more appear. And so just because these bad guys went away and their favorite type of service was ransomware as a service doesn't mean this is over with. But let's take the win. Anytime we can get a win in cybersecurity, I think it's good for all of us. We get to maybe get one weekend where we aren't on call and get incidents. But the point is, it's a win. It's good for them to have discourse. It's good for them to struggle and know that government efforts, law enforcement efforts are working in the background. It's very complicated to issue a takedown, especially when it's not in your country or border or laws. And yeah, today's a good day, but as I said, that doesn't mean it's not going away. And we need to stay vigilant when it comes to these things. And so I like a good news article. We need one of these every once in a while, right? Okay, cool. Let me find the other article that I thought was really good to discuss. One second here. And where was my other article that I liked? Yeah. Okay. So the other article I had up was the top U.S. agency hacked and forced to take some systems offline. Now, articles are what they are. The title always has to be clickbait. I had a quick read through this, and I think they said it was 2 systems. Some, 2, okay. I think you could have been more accurate and said forced to take 2 systems offline when we're talking about such a small number. If it was 1 million systems, I guarantee they said they had to take 1 million offline. But look, Sean, hey buddy, just be a little more straight up. Cybersecurity is about trust and honesty and being accurate, and it doesn't hurt to say only 2 systems were offline. But I think this is an important article to talk about, and I like how it says this. They were taken offline immediately. Now, the definition of immediately could be immediately when they detected it, or did it take 6 months to detect it, or was it an hour? So, these articles are always written from what information is given, but it's never going to be, as I said, accurate unless you're there. And I think it's important that this is really looked at, and this is a key phrase, was 2 systems and immediately took offline. And so you have to ask yourself, your cybersecurity program, do you take system offline based on a risk threat, based on the incident threat? Do you automatically just disable users? Do you quarantine those devices, right? And I think this is a good practice. The question about this doesn't say what were these 2 systems. Were they just a normal user, or was it like a critical server infrastructure? Because a lot of times, I know it sounds crazy, but people will leave them on even if they're infected, or C2 channels. Taking a server versus a client is a bit of a different conversation, but it's important that you have the capabilities to do this in a timely manner to ultimately slow down the spread. I guess if I had to have one other takeaway from this is it's good to know that they have the capabilities, they're using them, and the detection systems are working. Obviously, this doesn't discuss exactly what type of infrastructure they have. There's a little bit more reading in here about who was behind the attack. We're never going to have the answer to that. There's always going to be speculation. It's not like the hacker says it was us. And even if they did, how do you know it was really them? Unless they're like ransomwaring your data and say, here's what we stole from you. We can prove it, right? But this is what every company needs to strive for, is a quick turnaround, be able to take systems offline, and really slow down the hackers. This is the key here before they can get into certain systems and cause a lot of real damage, right? But once again, good win. I'm glad to see that the agency was able to do this so quickly, and it should be. Oh, it's another Sean article. I'm sorry. Yeah, Sean. I really think it's worth, other companies trying to say, if we're in this situation, how fast do we take our endpoints offline? How fast do we react? And ultimately, the goal should be automation in this area, because a human being is going to take time to react, where an automated system, an automated response can just automatically disable the accounts that are involved and quarantine the endpoints. When I was very early in my training, and I forget the instructor that said this to me, they gave a really good example that I'll always remember, and it's called the ATM machine, automatic teller machines for banking. And the reality of it is there's a lot of things that can go wrong with the ATM machine. It could just not work. The screen could be messed up. The buttons aren't working. It could eat your card. It could not have any money in it. It could spit out the wrong money, right? And so it doesn't matter what is wrong. They just put it in maintenance. It's that way it doesn't impact anybody. And there's always another ATM machine fairly nearby in most places, right? And so the goal was always, he always said, just think of security like an ATM machine. It's better to turn off that one, and it doesn't matter what the issue is, just turn it off till you figure it out, as opposed to now a customer lost their card, or it gave out the wrong money, and now there's a whole incident you have to report about missing money. That's always stuck with me, and I think this is a prime example in cybersecurity, that ATM example. If we feel that, if we sniff something, it doesn't pass the sniff test, we think something's wrong with the endpoint, it's better to take it offline and impact that one user. They're not going to be happy, but it's better than impacting 1,000 users and 1,000 systems, right? And the more you do this, the more user awareness, the more users will understand that what you've done, it might have impacted their work or their job, but it's not the end of the world, and it could have been worse, and we appreciate their understanding in that scenario. Right? Cool. Now, I want to hit something else. So this one was kind of been bothering me. It's been circling, and there's a lot of this AI talk going on, and prompting and things like that. I had a conversation with another friend, and he was talking about this prompt engineer title. So I'm going to piss some people off, because I think it's the most ridiculous thing I've seen in a while. And I'm going to put context into it. I'm going to give a fake example that anybody can understand. And then I'm going to give a real example of what a prompt is. So for people who don't know prompts, awesome. For people who think they're a prompt engineer, well, I'm going to hurt your feelings, because most of you aren't, and is the most ridiculous thing ever, okay? So, with that, I'm going to show you this right here. Let's go back to that browser. And I really liked this one when I was searching around. Edge still doesn't want to pop up. it this one? Nope, still doesn't want to work. Okay, back to the desktop. I might have to quit OBS to get that to work. So I think IBM gave the best explanation and definition of what is a prompt engineering. All right. And I'm going to just kind of skip over the top. I like the heading right here. What skills does a prompt engineer need? This is important because I think this is accurate, not the other crap that I'm going to show you in a minute. But this is, you need to be able to have LLM skills, communication skills, explain technical concepts, program expertise, mostly in Python, grasp of data structures and algorithms, create and realistic assessment of the benefits and risk of new technologies and value in the role. Obviously, multiple languages, because, English is the default, but we also have deep understanding of vocabulary, nuance, phrasing, texting, linguistics, because every word in a prompt can influence the outcome, which is important. And engineers should do the context, instruction, and content of the data model. So if you ask me, this is what a real prompt engineer is. Let's change the word. A prompt developer. Instead of using engineer, let's just go back to the real thing. A real developer of the code and the data models and all these things. So let's take out the word engineer. Let's be more, I'd say this will help clear it up, because other people are taking the word prompt engineer and using it for their own BS, and it's false. And I'm just going to stomp this out right now. I see people on LinkedIn, yes, you on LinkedIn, that self-proclaim in their title prompt engineer, and if you look at their expertise, they have no skills listed here. They're full of crap, right? Number one. Number two, is there an accreditation? Is there a certification that I can get that says I'm a prompt engineer? No. So you're self-proclaimed full of crap, all right? This type of skills, you could get certifications for language models and Python, and you could say, look, I have these 3 certifications that make me capable to be a prompt engineer. But most people are just straight up full of crap liars. Oh, I'm a prompt engineer. Wrong. So let me explain this, why I don't like this. And I'm going to show you the one that I am talking about. Let me look for it real fast. I don't want to show the whole desktop too long. The one I wanted is right here. Okay, so let's get back to it. This one. This is the one that's making the round. Prompt engineer's process of structuring tests that can be interpreted and understood by a model. Let's look at the example. Write a poem about leaves falling. Seriously? That's what people think a prompt engineer is, and that's just wrong. I'm sorry. That's ridiculous. That is typing text into a prompt. Doesn't make you a prompt engineer. I'm sorry. And that's where we need to really be honest about this, okay? Because people are trying to set themselves above other people, giving themselves their own definition and making them think they're special, when in reality, the goal of this should be, if you were going to hire, every role in your company as an HR person should have a bullet point that says where you should be adequate or efficient at using prompts. There shouldn't be, you're a prompt engineer and we need you to type stuff in, right? Now, why did I use the word efficient? Because you learn by doing. And as you start using prompts, you should be able to understand how to write better and better prompts. If you are, as I said, write a poem. You write your first poem, it might be okay. But then you expand on it or you get better at it. If you draw a picture and you draw a cat and you expand on it and you practice drawing, you get better. It's like anything you do. Like this. The more I do this, the better I learn the streaming mess, the better I get at it. Hopefully, more people will like it. If not, they just say, hey, Joel, you suck. We don't like you. And I'm like, awesome, right? But I'm going to do it anyways. And the whole point here is typing into a text box text. You are not an engineer. You're not going to get 100, 200, 300,000 job, like paying job out there for this. Eventually, this needs to be what I like to call the seatbelt. Every car has a seatbelt. It's just a default thing. Eventually, everybody is going to default have to be able to use an AI prompt in their job some level, and that doesn't mean every employee is a prompt engineer. That's ridiculous. Okay, so let's have a nice story time here. I've come up with a good example, and let me see if the other one's still working. Bring Word up. Okay, Word's still working. So, teaching time. Fictitious, but let's think about this. You want to order some food from McDonald's. So you go up to the register, and I'm going to show you a bad prompt. I would like some food. Okay. So you walk up to the McDonald's register and you say this to the cashier, and you say, I would like some food. Excuse me. Sorry. Now, let's pretend the employee is awesome and person goes along with it, and they say, okay, the good thing about the AI is it knows what food's available, right? It only knows that you can buy chicken nuggets or Big Macs or, I don't know, good Lord, they do wraps, and they do, what's the fish sandwich? I don't have McDonald's menus memorized, obviously, but my point is, right off the bat, the cash register person says, well, what type of food would you like? There's a conversation there, correct? And that's where they would ask follow-up questions. Like, well, would you like a sandwich, or would you like a burger? Would you like chicken? Okay. But if you think of it from the concept of AI isn't just one restaurant. It's all restaurants. It's all food. It's all drinks in the whole world. So when you say, I want some food, the AI says, what do you mean I want some food? Oh, there's a lot of ways it could interpret that. Meaning, do you want to buy some food? Do you want to cook some food? Do you want to draw a picture of food? Do you want a song about food? Do you want the history of food? Right? And so you could see how in the McDonald's context, the AI person had context that we only sell this food, where the context of an AI system that has access to the whole world, when you ask it this question, it could have so many different meanings. As I said, would you like food? I would like food. Eat it, cook it, buy it, prepare it. What type of food would you like? Is too many questions. Okay. So going back to the McDonald's example, how do we make this prompt better? And this is the question I want you to ask yourself. I'm going to put this at the top. No follow-up questions required. Okay. So if you've done this correctly, and if you were talking to a normal human being, there would be no follow-up questions required. That's how you know you've wrote a pretty good prompt. Let's take our example further. Okay, so what if you said, I want a, let's say, quarter pounder. Okay, the person at the register is trained to ask follow-up questions. Well, do you want to do they supersize anymore? I really don't eat a lot of McDonald's, but do you want to upsize it? And do you want fries, medium, large? Do you want a drink? What type of drink? And do you want it for here or takeaway? Okay. And I'm going to cough, so I'm going to mute for 1 second. And so let's craft a prompt. Now, let me rewind that. AI might make some assumptions and says, oh, I want a quarter pounder, and it just gives you that. But if you say, I want a quarter pounder meal, what would happen? Well, the AI would say, okay, I'm going to give you the meal for eating instead of takeaway. It's going to have to make a decision. It's going to say, okay, you want fries and a drink. It could give us small fries and a large Coke. So it knows the meal, but we didn't give it enough context to give it exactly what we wanted. Maybe I don't want Coke. Maybe I want a small Sprite and a large fry. And so we have to craft our prompt better. So it could be, I want a quarter pounder meal with a small fry and a medium, let's say, Sprite for dine in. Is it dine in? Let's do dine in. Nope. Is it this? Okay. Yeah. Not worried about grammar, syntax, who cares? But you see how my prompt is getting better? So if I go up to the register and I say, I want a quarter pounder meal with a small fry and a medium Sprite for dine in, the person probably won't have to ask me any other questions. Now, in the real world, we teach them to say, do you want an apple pie or something, right? But my point is, let's be a little fictitious here. The person shouldn't have to ask me any other questions. Now, is this prompt perfect? No. Let me give an example. You get back to your seat, and what's missing? Ketchup. Are you going to dip your fries in? Do you have a straw for your drink? Do you have napkins? And you see how, as you get better, your prompt gets better. Now, I could do it. Let's try to write a almost perfect, they're never perfect, but a really good prompt. I want a quarter pounder meal with no pickles. Then we could say lettuce, no pickle, a quarter pounder with mayo, lettuce, and tomatoes, but remove the pickles, okay? And why can't I spell tomatoes today? That's why. Toes, okay. Now, the meal should include a medium fries. Why can I not spell all of a sudden? Medium fries, lightly salted, and a medium Sprite with a third of ice, because I hate when they put too much damn ice in the drink, okay? The cup should come with a lid and straw, 3 packets of ketchup, and 5 napkins should be provided for takeaway or takeout, depending on where you live in the world, okay? You see how this prompt got much, much better. I want a quarter pounder meal with mayo, lettuce, tomatoes, but remove the pickles. The meal should include a medium fries, lightly salted, and a medium Sprite with a third of ice. The cup should come with a lid and a straw, 3 packets of ketchup, 5 napkins, and should be provided for takeaway. This is how you improve. We started with a basic prompt. Let's go right here. I want food. And then we turned it into a more specific, and it would work, but it's probably not going to give us what we want. And then we started crafting this. And could this get better? Yes. You could describe how you want the meat cooked. You could describe how you want the sandwich put together. Maybe you want the lettuce on the bottom and then the meat and then the tomato. You know, some people like lettuce that way. You could say, I want it in this way. The meal should include a medium fries. You could say, you know, no salt, more salt. Okay, and I want no ice. Now, in theory, well, in the real world, McDonald's have those kiosk machines now where you order at a kiosk. And guess what you're doing? You are using visuals to create the prompt for what you want to order. So you can click on, I want this meal, this fry, this drink, add on an apple pie, and add to cart. And that's your prompt from a visual perspective. Okay. But my goal here was to say, you're not an engineer. Knock it the hell off. Okay. This is not engineering. This is just learning how to give the most detailed input to get back what you would like, and it will take trial and error. Okay. Now with this, I want to give the two real world examples, and we're going to end this stream. Okay. So let's look at the real world example. Anybody in their company, have you ever had like your team meeting and there's always maybe two slides? We have a birthday. We have a work anniversary. Okay. You guys have seen these slides, right? So the company's saying, hey, this is how this month's been, or this, sorry. Yeah, I got about another 3 days and my throat will be good. So you guys are in the meeting and the manager goes through and gets to the slide that says, hey, we've had these birthdays for, what are we in March? So here are our March babies. And it will always put up there the names of the people who have a birthday. You also will see the work anniversary one, right? And this is where you go to the slide and it'll say, hey, we have these 3 work anniversaries and the person has been here for, 8 years, 6 years, 4 years, right? And so that slide will tell you who's been there for how long. These are very common things to do in a presentation. Now, a good prompt could be something like this. So you would open up PowerPoint, okay? You open up PowerPoint and you say, I want to create a slide. You could say, create a slide with employees that I manage who has a birthday this month. Include each person's photo with a circle border per image, and include a cake and balloon images. Okay. Now, assuming the AI prompt has the ability to maybe talk to an HR system, the HR system can knows whose birthday is, because typically HR keeps track of people's birth date for employment. A lot of times HR systems also keep a photo. And so that AI prompt in the PowerPoint, if it had the ability to talk to that system, guess what it's going to do? Well, as a human being, I would have to go to the HR system and I'd have to know how that works. I'd have to use the website. I'd have to know how to search and say, only find people with birthdays this month. So I have to know how all that works. Then I have to copy each person's name. Let's say there's 4 people. Then I have to save each of their photos to maybe the desktop. Then I go back to the PowerPoint slide. I got to drag all the photos on. I need to put circles and borders around the photos. Then I need to get put their the cake in the other images. You see how long that can take. But in reality, with a good prompt, that could be done in seconds, something that you do maybe every month. And then once you have the prompt and it's working every month, it's only going to take a few seconds to create the new birthday slide. The anniversaries are very, very similar, right? So I could say, create a slide with employees that are having a work anniversary. Create a table with their name and total years of employment. Include each person's photo with a square border. I can't spell today. Border. Okay. Now, once again, you'd have to test this, but this would even be more complicated because when you go to the HR system, let's assume it doesn't do the math to say this is 8 years. So first off, you have to go and first find whose work anniversary is this month. Then I would have to do the math and say, oh, well, this person's been here 6 years, 7 years. So I have to do all the math. Human being could make a mistake. We can't add 2 + 2 sometimes. And then I got to create the table. I got to get their photos again to make this slide. Could take a good 30, 40 minutes of doing all this stuff. But a really good prompt in PowerPoint that could talk to the HR system could easily create a work anniversary slide every quarter or every month, whatever your meeting cadence is, really quickly. Something you have to do all the time, which is good. You know, you want to celebrate your employees, you want to celebrate them. And this is what I'm talking about here. Using AI, writing a good prompt in scenarios that benefits your job, that saves you time, is awesome. But it's not prompt engineering. And I'm sorry to hurt everybody's feelings, but a prompt engineer is the definition of IBM, not Wikipedia. You're not going to make $100,000 a year being able to type this. You're not going to make $100,000 a year being able to order McDonald's, right? My point is, eventually everybody will have to have the bullet point in their job description that says they are efficient at using a prompt. And then there'll be the people who are engineers, who are developers in the background that are actually making the prompts better and easier and the experience better for us and human beings, because we're going to make mistakes and not type this perfect every time. Okay? Awesome. So look, I hope everybody liked my examples. Well, let's rewind. We had 2 articles. I think it was good to see a hacking group struggle. It was really good to see the government agency quickly react, and it was only 2 systems. So that's pretty impressive to take it down and stop that penetration. We bashed prompt engineers. So don't go to your LinkedIn profile and put your title and say, I'm self-proclaimed prompt engineer. There's no accreditation. This doesn't exist. You're making things up. Just think of this example when you're trying to teach people who've never done this before. I want food. Well, what would that look like? But then how do you actually order, and how do you make your prompt better? And so in reality, you take something they've done in the real world, which is order food during lunchtime, and turn that into a prompt. And then think of real scenarios in your company. For example, I have to create that birthday slide. I create that work anniversary slide every month for our meeting. The AI prompt could create that slide for me and save me so much time, and maybe even be more accurate. And, you know, if I don't mess up the work anniversary, I don't miss somebody, and I don't calculate the dates wrong. Only advice is the birthday slide, don't put how old everybody is. That'll get you in trouble. Look, and with that, I had a great time. I'm about 40 minutes in. I'm going to stop now. I'm going to go back and put a thumbnail over, basic things like that, tidy it up. I'll probably do some social media posts this time of it. I've been busy internally, a lot of work going on, a lot of Security Copilot stuff. So as soon as I'm allowed to release that, I'm actually helping with the internal training of my teammates in this region for Security Copilot, how to write good prompts. And I'm going to bring that out to the public, because this isn't something that's proprietary and hidden. We're all cybersecurity experts. We all need to know as much knowledge as possible. And the better you get at writing prompts, especially in an incident response security perspective, I think it's better for everybody. And with that, as always, keep it candor. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day. Take care.